Paying off debt isn't hard because the math is complicated. It's hard because progress feels slow, and life keeps happening at the same time. When you're making payments every week and your balance barely seems to move, it's easy to lose motivation. This video is about how I stay consistent even when it doesn't feel rewarding yet. One thing I didn't expect after graduating was how much of paying off debt is mental. You can know exactly what to do. Pay extra, avoid spending, stay consistent, and still feel stuck. So I wanted to make this video to talk about how I stay motivated while paying off around $30,000 in student loan debt, especially when progress feels slow. The hardest part about debt isn't the payments, it's the timeline. Interest stacks up and the payoff date feels really far away when you're just paying the minimums. You make a payment, go to check your balance, and it feels like nothing has changed. And meanwhile, you're still going to work, saying no to things, and watching other people move forward in life. That gap between effort and visible progress is where most people burn out, and I don't think that gets talked about enough. One thing I've learned pretty quickly is that motivation comes and goes. So instead of relying on motivation, I try to build systems that don't require it. For me, that means weekly contributions and treating debt payments like a non-negotiable bill. As soon as a paycheck hits my account, I put $200 towards my highest interest loan. I also have automations set up to move money into my emergency fund and savings for things like a car and eventually moving out. These automations keep me consistent. I know what needs to happen and when it needs to happen. It's just another part of my schedule, just like going to work. One thing I had to remind myself early on was not to make everything about paying off debt, because if you do, it can become suffocating. I still allow myself to save for the future, invest a little bit, and have some money left over to enjoy life. Not in a reckless way, just in a way that makes this sustainable. This is where the emergency fund and savings for other goals come in. I still have money left after these payments and automations, and that's what I live on for the rest of the week. I've cut most expenses to keep that margin as small as possible, and that's what allows me to stay consistent with paying off debt and saving. For me, consistency matters more than speed. Another thing that helps is not obsessing over the total balance every day. Instead, I focus on how many payments I've made, how consistent I've been, and how much better my habits are compared to last year. Progress isn't just the number going down, it's becoming someone who handles money better. I don't look at this as my forever. This is just a season where things are a little tighter, so future seasons can be easier. That mindset shift alone helps a lot. It is very important to stay consistent with paying off the debt, because if you don't, the interest will build up, and then that will keep compounding, and that is not what you want. I had to reframe my thinking into thinking more long-term more than in the moment, because looking at the total, I would often think, man, like I'm never going to pay this off. But thinking more long-term and thinking about how consistent I have been, long-term, if I keep this up, then I will be able to chip away at this debt. In my opinion, I think it's all about the way you think about things. If you reframe your mind into thinking more long-term rather than in the moment with this given situation, I think that it can be very helpful. It'll allow the debt to not feel so suffocating. Once you can think about it like that, you're relieved of the stress of how big the total debt is, and then you think about it more in payments and the consistency that you've already shown. It helps a ton, and it allowed me to continue being consistent because I saw the big picture. I saw where the money was going. The grand total wasn't necessarily going down, but I knew that if I kept up with what I was doing, then eventually it would. I'm not behind, I'm just early on in the process. If you're paying off debt and feeling discouraged, you're not failing. You're just in the slow part. If this video helped at all, consider subscribing for more videos like this one. I'm documenting this in real time, not pretending I've already figured it all out. No fake success stories, just progress. Thank you for watching.